excited to have you all here. Couple things to get started with. My name is Katie P. I use she, her pronouns, and I get work at the Technical Assistance Center in the state of Minnesota. And we want to oh, sorry, I'm a Caucasian female. I have brown hair in a braid, and I'm wearing a cypress or like a forest green shirt right now. Today our topic is about the Think College Policy Advocacy Training. So we're really excited to hear from our four guests today. And we will start all of our sessions with the land acknowledgement that Minnesota is on the rightful lands of the Dakota and other indigenous people. We recognize the U.S. did not uphold the land treaties, and it is the continued displacement of indigenous peoples that allows the state of Minnesota to exist today. We are also in my heck part of the ICI, Institute on Community Integration in Minnesota through the University of Minnesota. At the Institute of Community Integration, we affirm our commitment to address systemic racism, ableism, and all other forms of inequity and oppression to ensure inclusive communities. And our funding statement through MyHEC, funding for today's learning community event is provided by state appropriations through the Minnesota Office of Higher Education. All right, now that we've got some house cleaning things done, I'm going to introduce two of our speakers today. During this time, we encourage you to do what is most accessible to you. If we are missing any access measures, please use the chat, let us know. If you need myself or other speakers to slow down, please do not be shy about asking or anything else for your access needs. Um, we will take questions at the end, so if we're able to hold them to the end, we do appreciate it. Like I said, always feel free to use the chat as well. So we have the pleasure of welcoming Liz and Denise from the Association of University Centers on Disabilities, and they will co-present with two policy advocates, Brenda and Lauren from the University of North Texas, who have completed the Think College Advocates training. So Liz works at the Association of Centers of Disability, and she's a senior advocacy specialist with policy and advocacy. She has held many positions at state and national organizations. She's a full-time member of the USAID policy team and also hosts Tuesdays with Liz, Disability Policy for All. It's a YouTube channel. I encourage you to check it out, where she makes policy in accessible language, so policy is accessible to all. In spring of 2018, Liz served as a fellow for the Senate for Senator Casey of Pennsylvania, working in his DC office, where she helped lead the way, they both helped lead the way on disability policy. Liz also shared her personal story as a woman with a disability as she testifies to the State Judiciary Committee about potential implications of the Kavanaugh confirmation to the civil rights of people with disabilities. Prior to joining the USAID, Liz worked on the Council of Quality and Leadership. Liz is an alumni of the LEN training program at the Center for Leadership and Disability at Georgia State University, and she has worn many hats, received numerous awards, including one very recently at the SOTA Conference, State of the Art Conference for Inclusive Higher Ed. And she enjoys mentoring people with disabilities. So we are so thrilled to have Liz here today. If you know anything about Liz, is that she knows everyone in the community, everywhere there is anything happening with disability, and she brings a lot of light and joy there. We also have Denise, and she's the Director of Policy Innovation and Education at the Association of University Centers of Disability, USAID. Denise works primarily on issues affecting transition age youth, post-secondary education, and employment. Denise's policy work also includes a focus on inclusive post-secondary education for students with intellectual disabilities in partnership with Think College. She's also worked on employment with transition age youth for many years at the University of New Hampshire. Denise has 35 years of experience at the disability policy at the federal and state level, working on almost all issues and legislation affecting individuals with disability, beginning with the Americans with Disability Act. Denise spent 15 years as the Assistant Vice President for the State Government Relations at Easter Seals, increasing awareness and support for disability issues in state government. And just in case she hasn't done enough, she has also worked and state policy and systems to change issues, including autism, Medicaid managed care, vocational rehabilitation, Affordable Care Act implementation, and health delivery system reforms. So she has done incredible work. Um, and there's lots more I could say all across the US, but I will not continue on because I know we all want to hear from Denise and Liz and our other guests today. So, Denise, take it away.
So what I'm going to do is share my screen so that you can see my slides, I hope. Meaning I hope I'm gonna share it right, but you can tell me. Can you see my screen? There it goes. Yep, you can see it now, Katie or Liz or somebody. Okay,
Yes.
so thank you. Um, so as Katie said, I'm Denise Roselle. The way we're going to do this today is I'm going to do a few slides just to talk about what the Think College Policy Advocates are and what the program is about. And then I'm going to toss it to Liz, and Liz is going to introduce and then interview one of the teams who has been through the program, and I'll let her introduce them when we get there. So, Think College Policy Advocates. What is it? Why is my screen not going? Okay, hold on. Come on, Denise. I pushed my little button. There it goes. So, what is Think College Policy Advocates? You'll hear me call it TCPA. So TCPA is a program that is a joint partnership of Think College, the National Coordinating Center, Technical Assistance Center on Inclusive Post-Secondary Education, and AUCD. Liz is in my organization. The purpose of it is to train students and professionals to be effective advocates for inclusive post-secondary education for students with intellectual disabilities. The program is set up so that teams of students and staff apply together and are chosen. It's a competitive process, are chosen, and they spend almost a year learning and preparing to come to Washington, D.C. and speak with their members of Congress about policy. We do then when they come to DC, they continue their training here, and then they actually go do Hill visits. They spend a day actually visiting with staff. And sometimes that's their members of Congress. Sometimes it's committee staff. There are very important committees on the House and the Senate that do most of the work around disability policy, and we want to make sure we get committee staff. So at times they've met with staff from the Department of Education and the administration. So let me tell you a little bit more. Um, we have chosen, so how are they chosen? There are up to 10 teams each year. We are just starting our 6th cohort. We have chosen, well, it started in September. There are 10 teams, up to 10 teams. This year we actually only have 9 teams. Up to 10 teams. Each team is made up of a staff person and a student or alumni from an inclusive post-secondary program. Usually, and they apply together. It is really important to me to say that they are equal members of the team. There is a team from this, like you'll hear from the UNT Elevar team, they are equal members of the team. It is not that one person is coming just to support the other. They each have very specific roles to play in learning how to advocate on policy issues. So since 2018, which would include this year's cohort, we have had teams from 30 states and from 41 colleges. I think it came out when I counted today, it was about 40 individuals. The reason that seems low. Anyway, one of the years we ended up picking teams and then having to cancel because everything shut down. They were supposed to come to DC in March, and as you well remember, there was a year when literally there was nothing going on. We have run this program in different ways each year, trying different matches, I guess I would say. The policy work is generally all the same, what we have taught, and there is a curriculum that we've developed. all in plain language, that explains policy, explains how government works, explains why it is important to understand how government works, particularly as a person with a disability, how much of your life is um, influenced and impacted by government, whether that's your healthcare and Medicaid, whether that's education and IDEA, Americans with Disabilities Act, discrimination prevention, whatever it may be, Higher Education Opportunity Act, which is the piece of legislation that covers the IPSY programs, the inclusive post-secondary programs. So you learn all about those things, and then also about how to advocate with policymakers. And again, that is how to tell your story, how to write what we call an elevator speech, meaning a quick time it would take you in an elevator to explain who you are and what's important to you and why you're there, why you come to Capitol Hill. The students have been phenomenal. Actually, the students have been phenomenal at telling their stories individually about why they applied to college, why it's important to go to college, why they wanted to go to college, what they're studying, what their courses are, what they want to do in employment after they get out of college. Um, and then, so you learn how to do that elevator speech, and then the staff person can talk about what the program is about, what the outcome data is, perhaps about how your employment, how many students when they leave are employed, how the program works, perhaps may talk about other students who are not actually there present with them. That's why I say they each have a role to play. I think it's also really important to make sure that we say that the curriculum that we have developed with all of these policy documents, all this policy curriculum, including a plain language, including a plain language glossary, because as we all know, policy is not in plain language. And frankly, the plain language glossary is usable by all kinds of people, not just people who don't speak policy, as the saying goes. So that's an important piece of the program as well. This year's, well, let's see, do I have this year's? Yeah, we have 9 accepted teams this year. These are the schools they're from. We try very hard to get a diverse group of colleges, a diverse group of students and staff. We often will try to get some community college, some private school, some public university, someone from a CTE program, career tech ed. We've had all of examples of all of those. Most of these are schools which have not had a team before. Although there is a rule that if your school has sent a team before, you are still eligible to send another team. But if you yourself have gone before, you yourself cannot do it again. So it would have to be a different staff person. It would have to be a different student. And the purpose there obviously is so that you learn all these things and then you take them back and share at your university or college what you've learned. And then what happens after TCPA? Well, you go back to your school, obviously. So we go through this whole project. This year we started in September. There are monthly calls until January and February. There are 2 calls a month when they're trying to make appointments with their members of Congress and all of that. And then this year they're coming to DC in March to do Hill visits and visit with policymakers, which is actually going to be perfect timing for a new administration. But then when they're done with this piece, they go back to their schools, and there are all kinds of things that TCPA alumni are now doing. Some of them have gone on to become LEND trainees at the LEND in their states. Some of them, and I will say this flat out, some of them have decided that after they've gone through all of this, they really didn't like it. Not that they didn't like the program, but they decided influencing public policy is really not for them. And that's okay. How many of us learned things, tried things, and then came back and went, I'm going to use these advocacy skills. I'm going to advocate for myself, and I'm probably going to advocate for other people. But I'm not necessarily going to be advocating in a public policy arena because it just wasn't my thing. And that's fabulous. That's fine. Yeah, Liz.
Denise, I wonder if everyone knows what a land trainee is.
You want to tell them?
A land trainee stands for Leadership Education Neurological and Related Disability. I think there's one at university, the institute,
Minnesota has one, absolutely.
the Minnesota one, and it helps students who want to get into the field, whether there's OT, speech pathology, physical therapist, to understand the field, and they also include self-advocates, because who best to help teach than us. And so it's usually a 9-month, sometimes it's a 12-month, 24-month, but I did it in a 9-month course.
And it's early, exactly, Liz. It's early career professionals, and it also includes families. So it's a very broad inclusion of families and people with disabilities and all kinds of early career professionals. Thank you, Liz. You're right. That I should have explained that. Other things that TCPA alumni have gone back, they've gone back and advocated on their college campuses for certain things that they wanted to see happen. They've advocated with their states or members of Congress, their state legislators or members of Congress, for particular bills that they became interested in. We've had a couple, at least one I know of, who went and interned with a legislator. I know one of them got so excited about policy work that she literally built an internship for what she would need to learn in order to go into policy. Testifying at state legislatures, all kinds of things that these alumni have gone back and used their advocacy skills to advocate. Well, they've used their advocacy skills on all sorts of issues. And that was the purpose. That is the purpose, to teach people advocacy skills in public policy that hopefully will stay with them for their lives, for whatever they need to advocate for in the future. This is how to find Liz and me at AUCD, our email addresses. I always say to Liz, I don't speak for her, but on this particular case, I know I can, to say that we are both always open to have people email us, ask us questions. We are both policy geeks. We both really like to do public policy and to teach other people to do it. I am now going to toss it to Liz and let her introduce the team you're going to hear from. And I'm going to turn my slides off. And then, or I'll actually introduce them, and then I'll turn my slides off. And then Liz is going to interview them. And you can be thinking as you listen if there are questions that you have for the team, because we've got some questions we'd like them to answer for you all. And then and they've come up with some questions. And then if you have questions to ask them, that's okay too. So why don't you introduce them, Liz, and then I'll turn off the slides so you can see everybody.
Thanks. I want to introduce my friends as well as the team for the University of North Texas. Lauren Wolfbeck and Brenda Barrow, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm reversing the names because I always like, as a person with a disability, as a South African, I always like to include the students first.
This time I'm going to interrupt you, Liz. The reason I did it in that order was only because they were in that order in the photo.
Okay.
So Brenda was on the left and then Lauren was on the right, because I like to do the same thing. I'd much prefer to put the student first. Now I'm going to shut up.
Okay. But thank you. Lauren, Brenda is the vice president of the UNT, the University of North Texas, and is I think has um um s- started the program at University of North Texas, which is called Elvar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Um, and she came to the university for that purpose. She was at a different university, and I don't remember the name of it, but she came to for the purpose of to start this program. Lauren is and can you remind me, Lauren, are you a senior this year?
I wish. I'm a junior.
Okay, junior, I um 2 more years. Anyway, she's a junior at University of North Texas, and I know that she has been living off. She has a new apartment, which is great. And for those of you who have seen the video from Think College, Think Think College Higher Ed, or something like that. I don't remember. But the PSA, and Lauren is one of the stars of that video. So if you haven't seen the video, it's on, I think, the Think College website, and it's just a great video. So with that, did I miss anything, Brenda or Lauren, that you would like to add?
I would like to add that Lauren is studying something really exciting, and she also has a job on campus. Lauren, do you want to share what your degree, or sorry, your what you're focusing?
Say that again. You kind of broke up.
Oh, sorry. I said, do you want to share what you are focusing on for your career?
It's kind of like real estate. It's interior design, somewhere
Wow,
in that field. Yeah. And
wow.
my job is at the dean's office, working as a receptionist.
Oh my, that's amazing. That's so great. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Brendan, did I miss anything about you?
Nope. That was great, Liz. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a few questions, and as Denise said, if you have any other questions, please put it in the chat or ping one of us and we can unmute yourself. So for both of you, what made you decide to apply for Think College Policy Advocate? And for this one, I'll start with Lauren.
I decided to apply because I thought it would be a great opportunity to get myself out there, and to meet new people and experience something new and to learn how to advocate for myself and others in the program.
Great. Brenda?
Yeah, similarly to Lauren, I wanted to learn from students and to hear their stories and why they were advocating, especially at the federal level. And then also to learn a little bit more about how to do it myself as a faculty member and also as an administrator in higher education. Starting these programs is one thing, but I think advocating for them at different levels, whether it's at the state, local, or federal level, it takes a craft. So it was very good experience to learn so much from everybody.
Okay, thanks. And um um and we'll start with Brenda, because this is for both of you. What was your favorite part of TCPA? Something that you learned, something you did, and someone you met with. And we'll start with something you learned.
Yeah. So something I learned how to put the best one pager together about our program. Sometimes we think that the information that we share with students and families is what perhaps we should share with everybody, but depending on the audience, it might shift. So in this case, since we wanted to share it with legislators and staffers, we had to make sure that the information that we included in there was a little bit different and tailored towards what they could connect with. So that was something that I learned. And then I also learned a lot from the students and their stories and how impactful it was to not only be there, but also to be part of a college experience.
Okay. Something you did.
Something I
Right.
did. I ran from one end of Congress to the other with Lauren. I'm kidding. We were able to meet with staffers and for legislatures, especially the ones here in Texas. And that I'm going to combine that one with someone we met. We met with the staffers from Representative Crockett, for example. She's a representative here in the Dallas area. And that was extremely positive and something that was probably one of the highlights of our trip.
Okay. And I think you answered that. So, Lauren, what was your favorite part of TCPA?
I say all of it. There's not just one part. It was just so much fun getting to go to Washington and experience all of that and meeting new people and other programs out there trying to do the same thing that we're doing. Um, like Dr. Barrio said, meeting her secretary was awesome. Apparently she was at my church during that time, so that's why she couldn't meet with me, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, everything about it was very cool. I'm glad that they do it every year so that other people can experience it.
Okay. So it seemed like you have a, a relationship with Jasmine, the staffer, which is great.
I wish I didn't get to meet her in person, but I know that she was at my church during the time of where we were supposed to meet. So I was like, I guess that's a let off. That's why she couldn't meet.
Okay. But still, you have that connection.
Yeah.
Whether or not you met with her, you have that connection. That's a really important thing. And don't ever forget that. And you can use that someday. Something you did, and you already talked about who you met, or you have anyone else you met with, but something you did.
We met with Senator Corner's team, Jasmine's, Bob Casey's team. We were going back and forth. Um, it was kind of troubling to see who we were going to go see next because they were all across Washington. So, but yeah, it was kind of funny going back and forth and but that's mostly the stuff that we did, trying to put our program out there as much as we can to them.
Okay. So, for Lauren, this is for you. What did you learn from working as a team member with Brenda or another TCPA team?
So what did I learn from Dr. Barrio?
Yeah, or another team.
From Dr. Barrio, I learned how to advocate for myself. Just take it one day at a time and not get so overwhelmed, basically. Washington is a very overwhelming place. But I learned how to write a good speech and give it as well as I can. And if they don't like want to hear it, then I did the best I could.
Okay. Okay. And for both of you, we'll start with Brenda. What did you learn from meeting with other Think College policy advocate team? So not just your team, both, but the other teams.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. That's a great question. I think the powerful thing that we all learned from each other was that we had a lot of things in common, that as a group together, we can really raise our voice and advocate for inclusive post-secondary education at the national level. But within our own groups, we could also do so with our own state legislatures legislators, for example. But I think one of the most important things was that the stories that our students share while they are in those congressional meetings with staffers or with legislators is that sharing their experiences are so impactful and so powerful. And we're there as, the backup quarterbacks, just in case there might be some, questions about the program or funding or anything else like that. But I think what I learned mostly about everybody is that if we as a collective work together, our voice is very strong. So, and that helps advocate, but especially coming from students.
It reminds me of one of my favorite sayings is team. Together, everyone achieves more. So that's great. Lauren, the same question.
I guess, yeah, learning from everybody and seeing how their program works different from ours and seeing what other classes that they do and how they navigate their program. Just getting to learn how to advocate in different ways.
Okay, thanks. And for both of you again, how have you used what you have learned from TCPA after you got back to campus or to home? What advocacy are you involved with now? And I personally know you have a lot to share, Lauren, so please don't be shy.
I'd say I haven't been doing a whole bunch, but I did speak to some high school students like a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago to tell them what college life is like and how being in a program is being in a post-secondary education program is awesome and that a person with disability can go to college.
Okay. I thought I remember last year, and this was a year ago, so maybe it's hard to remember. And maybe Brenda can help you with this. But I thought I heard that you were on a statewide committee, or you had something to do with a statewide committee. Can you tell that? Can you share that experience?
Oh yeah, it's the Advocating Council for Denton. Um, and I learned how they deal with policies and bringing them to the what's it called, Dr. Barrio?
To the state
Yes, the
legislator.
state, yeah, legislators, and seeing how that works and people voting and figuring out, okay, what needs to be passed now and just save this for later. So I think Dr. Barrio helped me get into that. So yeah, that was very fun.
Great, great. I'm really proud of you about that. Brenda.
Yeah. I to add to Liz's, so Liz and I sit on the what she was talking about is the state is a state mandated. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but
Okay. Sorry.
the meeting
Is my
is Liz, did you meet Lauren?
Yes, Lauren, sorry, my bad. It's late at night now, so and I'm tired. Yeah, so Lauren, what she shared was that we're both sitting on a statewide council that is something that the Texas legislature had in place for specifically to advocate for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in post-secondary education. So I have been with the council for 2 years. Lauren joined me as the student advocate this year. And what we are charged to do, depending on the year, is to provide information, whether those are resources, data, and put them together in a report. So we meet quarterly. And that's something that TCPA was very helpful with. Although I had been with the council the first year, navigating that was a little bit more cumbersome than I thought. And so once I had the tools to actually understand not only how to share the information and the resources that we had, but also with whom, it was very important. So I've been sharing those resources with some of the folks in the council as well. But then we have, because it's open to the public, the meetings, I share all the resources with families and students and just community members in order for them to actually learn also how to advocate for themselves.
Great. That sounds very exciting.
Yeah, and sorry, it's late, so it's been a long day.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no problem. I'm tired as well, so I understand. I
Hey,
guess,
Liz, can I interrupt
Yeah.
for a second? Brenda,
Yeah.
am I right that you guys have also been doing some advocacy with your vocational rehabilitation agency?
Yes, absolutely. And that is a state agency completely separate. And so, yes, we have been working with them now for about 4 years, and not only at the local level, but also at the state level in better sharing information about what inclusive post-secondary education programs are. Not that they're only college experiences, but our two specific goals are one, independent living for our students, but also the most important one is the employment post college. And so they are currently working on some new policies and language based on some of the conversations we've had, some of the data that I've shared with them. And then also we've been working with the Texas Higher Education Board, which oversees many of the policies that impact higher education in general. And so those are also, two side policy advocacy that we've been doing as a program.
Thanks.
Very
Yeah.
good. Denise, do we have time for extra questions?
Why don't you go ahead and do, because that way, why don't you go ahead and do a couple of those, Liz? And then we can open it up. And we can say at the moment, anybody who's got questions for Lauren or Brenda, you could type them into the chat. And in the meantime, Liz has a couple of other questions that are, I think mostly more toward Lauren, but because those are examples of kind of, Lauren, giving you the chance to show your, not so much your whole elevator speech, but, and you don't have to do it, but to, about what some of the things that you would
Yeah.
tell legislators now about what you do and where you are. And anyway, go on, Liz. I'm sorry.
So Lauren, what's the best thing about college?
I say being here. I didn't turn myself off. Am I working? Can you see me? Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, just being at college, didn't think I would ever go back to college. I went to a community college, didn't work so well for me because they didn't have the right tools for me. Finding Elevar has been the best thing ever. Getting to live in a dorm, live off campus in an apartment, getting able to meet new people, have new friends, getting to join these classes and experience everything that college life has to offer.
Okay, thanks. One more question for Lauren, and then I wanted to ask Brenda a question. What did your dream job and what internship have you done or enjoyed? And you just talked about real estate, so that your dream job.
Yeah, working in real estate is my dream job. I'm more looking for like doing decorum and renovation type stuff. I haven't really found a specific job for that yet, but I'm still just learning about it first. Because there's a lot to do in real estate, to be honest. Like I can choose from like 5 different things in real estate. I haven't taken any internships yet. I am looking for next year, or the year before, next year after that, to see what I can do with that.
Thanks. And Brenda, what have you learned from starting a new program?
A lot. I actually had started 2 programs when I was at Washington State University. That was my previous institution list. And I started WSU Roar there with some colleagues. And then I came to the University of North Texas and started Elevar. So I have learned a lot from both of them. One of the things that I think are most important to start these types of programs is to get the champions around the college campus, but also around the community that will help you develop these programs. We can't do it by ourselves. We need allies across campus that believe in the work. Most of them actually here at the University of North Texas have been people that are never, have experience with people with intellectual disability, for example. And so, but they actually believe in the work that we were doing. They believed in the true meaning of inclusion. And when we asked for help and asked, for a little bit of extra work from them, everybody has said yes. So that's one of the most impactful and bigger things that I have learned from starting these programs is not just that our students are the ones that are impacted in a positive way by having this opportunity to come to college and living a fulfilling life, but also very important is the impact to the staff, the other students, traditional students, the faculty, and then the community in general. That these programs are helping make our communities more inclusive, including our college campus. So it's been a really good experience. I'm ready to start some more programs if they let me.
And just so people know, Washington Roy on the program in Washington State was a TCPA team a few years ago. I think it might have been the first year, Denise. Am I correct?
And they are again this year. We have another WSU team this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot. But
We're just getting to know all the teams this year really
Yeah.
well. putting names and faces together.
So I
You've got-
think it's really neat that your footprint is all over. So we'll open it up for questions. Thank you again, Lauren and Brenda. Do you?
There's one in the chat. Can you see I don't know if you can see the chat. So you want me to read it?
Yes.
So there's a question from Mary Harden. Lauren, did you meet people in this experience that you will stay in contact with in the future? Besides Liz and me, I hope you'll stay in contact with us.
Yes, because I might need help in the future.
That's fine.
Yes, I do have emails from the people that we spoke with in Washington. So if I needed to talk to them, I could and advocate more about our program and anything that I'm doing in the future.
Liz, I will just tell a quick story. I was with a group last night from Lipscomb University, which included, it wasn't the ideal program, the IPSI program, but it included some people who were active in it. And it was some people in Washington, D.C. who were alumni along with the students who came in to visit Washington. And that's part of what they were talking about, was how many of the people who were there, how much you keep in touch with your college classmates. And you never know where they're going to end up or why you might need to know them at some point in the future. And that's kind of what you're starting through. Not to mention the staff people. You never know where the staff people are going to end up either. Whether they're, I mean, one of your staff, the people that you met that was a staff person, may turn out running for Congress someday, and you will have met them as a staff person. You just never know.
This
Other
is Katie.
questions? Go on.
Oh, I'm just going to break in really quick. We're going to put our poll out, and then if there's any other questions, please feel free to just ask them out loud or put them in the chat. Thank you.
Huh?
Thanks, Katie. Other questions? Oh, there's okay. There's the poll. Yeah. Hmm.
Can I ask my own question for Lauren?
Sure.
And I'm going to put Lauren, sorry, to put you in the spot. One of the, I think one of the other powerful things that it was not a TCPA thing, but something that I saw while we were there is that many of the students actually came with their families. And we know that families are extremely important advocates for their own students and have made the disability movement, what it really is now. And so, Lauren, my question to you is, how was it having your family there? Because it wasn't just her mom. It was Granny was there and her auntie was there. So it was a whole family, right? But how was it having them there, impactful and important for you as an advocate?
It was great. It made it less stressful. I was able to confide in them if I needed to on anything and asking them if the speech was still right, making sure double checking everything and helping me where I need to go, make sure I was there on time and yeah, and getting to experience Washington together, even though my aunt has been there maybe multiple times. But yeah, getting to experience Washington and have fun while we were in Washington together.
It's interesting. One of the things that, and I didn't even know your family was with you, Lauren. One of the things that we say as part of this program is, for the time when you're in TCPA, this is for your team. It's for Brenda and Lauren. We don't want to see mom and dad. We don't want to see whatever. If we're going out together as a group, we are going as our group. This is your thing. But on the other hand, you're coming to Washington, D.C. You got a hotel room. if your parent, people want to come and come with you for whatever reason, if it's as a support, if it's just because, it happens to be this year, it's around spring break. And we've said to people, if you're going to come to Washington, D.C. and your family comes with you either beforehand or afterwards as part of a trip for spring break, that's fine, whatever. So it's a nice combination of this is for you and for the two of you to work as a team. But this is also, it's DC. It's and everyone should have the supports they need. So that's also important.
And I also wanted to say that as an advocate and a South advocate, um when I was Lauren's age or a college student, I could imagine saying, Mom and Dad, I want to do things my own way. But I've learned and I have appreciated my family, and now that my parents are no longer here, I have appreciated my sisters to support me in so many ways. So I think what I'm saying is that support network is so important.
Yep.
For just anyone, whether you have a disability or not, but for a person with a disability, it's probably more important because I can go and talk to my sisters about, I'm confused about this, or can you help me with this, or whatever.
I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah.
Denise and Liz, could you talk about uh, is there any update or will there be information available for sort of the next cohort? I know that a lot of things are sort of uncertain, but is there any new information or anything that you can share tonight about what it looks like for the future for other students and faculty to be a part of this?
Our hope is that we can continue this program. I will say I don't have anything that's new, Mary, that I can share tonight. Partly because and folks on this call will understand this. There is that this is paid for out of the Think College National Coordinating Center grant. That grant, as happens with federal grants, runs out the end of next September. This one is coming in March. I don't speak for Think College. I assume they will apply for another grant. Then then they'll have to figure out what that looks like. Then you have to see if it's approved, etc. However, having said that, but our hope is to continue it. And even if not to continue it, even if it doesn't continue through that funding cycle, we are continuing to look for additional funding for this program because I think it's the kind of program, quite honestly, that I think could be scaled up and train more students and teams. The reason we have taken 10 traditionally, part of that's a cost issue, 9, 10. Part of that's a cost issue, but part of that is a staffing issue because I didn't say this, but every team has a coach. And so that's 10 additional people. And Liz and I have coached teams, but generally speaking, we try not to coach a team so we're available to everybody. But that means finding 10 other policy people or Think College people or friends of ours. Liz and I have asked a number of our friends who are policy people in the DC area to act as coaches. So once you get beyond about 10, it starts being a really big group and lots more people. But on the other hand, this is a program we could scale up. And I think we're going to be doing some looking in this next few months to see if we can find some other funding that would be helpful. I'm sorry,
And
Liz.
we also have someone who was a part of the team.
Yeah.
2 years ago or
Yeah.
3 years.
That's about right. Yeah.
Years ago, and she's part of our team, Denise and myself. We have a team of 3 that is kind of working behind the scene and
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
Well, there's another person, but anyway,
Yeah.
and so that's another person that is part of the program.
Part of our team, but even that, as you can well imagine, I have other responsibilities that I work on. Liz clearly has other things she works on. So it's a certain percentage of our time. But anyway, Mary, I appreciate the question, and I wish I had a good answer for you. Our hope is it will be continuing, and keep a lookout for next announcements about next things coming. And we will be sure to let all of you know as soon as we know.
Any other questions?
Okay.
All right. Well, if there's
Thank
no
you.
other questions, yeah, there's nothing else. If you have more individual questions, feel free to stay on the call and ask. Like Denise said earlier, they're always happy to connect, her and Liz. Special thank you to our guests who showed up today. Really appreciate your time, Lauren and Brenda. Awesome.
And I also wanted to say that Lauren and Brenda was just an amazing team. They were always there to do things. All of the teams were actually amazing, but Lauren and Brenda, you were amazing, and you were amazing, and you can see why. I hope that people can see why you are amazing, because tonight you were amazing.
I will also add, Katie, and I forgot, I think we sent you guys the links. A couple of things. There is a Think College Policy Advocates portion of the Think College website, which can give you some blogs that have been written about it, some other information. Secondly, there was and just, it shows you a sample application, that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean you guys can't do this and go to your state legislature. We took the Think College Policy Advocate curriculum, the folks at AUCD, and in partnership with Think College, and transformed it or adapted it for use in states. And that is on the Think College website as well. So it will tell you, here's how you find your legislator. Here's how you do an elevator speech. Here's what policy is all about. Here are some talking points on specific pieces of policy. And those are very specific we took those and adapted them to states. The plan, and I should have said this earlier, the plan at the end of this year, once we've gone through this curriculum once more for TCPA, is to also make this curriculum available on the Think College website for others to use. So, we love bringing people into Washington and having you do it here and, all of that. But you can also go and advocate, learn how to do a lot of the things Lauren and Brenda have talked about, and take them to your state legislators, and also take it to your federal legislators, to Congress.